There's something called workforce enablement, which is actually about identifying the digital solutions your organization needs to streamline those process steps and speed up decisions, enable communication, all that. Employee enablement is about nurturing an environment where every employee can reach their full potential, both personally and professionally. That's more than just job satisfaction. It's about equipping your team members with the necessary tools, knowledge, and motivation to excel in their roles. Now, these types of enablement sound great, but there are other types that are not so great, and that individuals at all levels can fall victim to if they aren't careful. Let's say you're a team player. When you agree to get something done, you willingly pick up the slack for someone who might have been too busy, didn't do the work to your standards, or even for the one who never intended to do their part. You take one for the team. The others would do it for you, right? Or would they? That's okay. You just want to make sure the team looks good in front of the boss, even if it wasn't a true team effort. But hold on. How many times does this need to happen before you cry foul? Let's look at some of the ways you can unwittingly be tolerating and enabling bad behavior and understand some of the reasons why. Hi, I'm Ginny Clark, a conscious leadership expert who spent 2 decades in executive recruiting and talent management. Having worked with giants like Google, Spencer Stuart, I discovered that the secret to transformative leadership lies in the 5 dimensions of conscious leadership. And I'm here to help you unlock your full potential. Join me on this channel as we embark on an honest and vulnerable journey together to become the kind of leader that genuinely inspires organizational transformation. I have a few ways you can get involved in this conscious community. First, I've created a free career map to help you uncover your next career move. Second, I've created exclusive content for you with a community of like-minded leaders. And lastly, I send out a free newsletter every week. To learn more, check out the description of this video. Elliot has worked hard to get to the level of creative director at a global advertising agency. He has a brilliantly creative mind, but has had to work his way up the ladder by bringing in clients, aligning teams, and delivering exceptional content. Not to mention navigating the usual workplace politics and other dynamics. Since he's new to his role, he's realizing that some old relationships require new approaches and has engaged a coach to help him get in front of some possible challenges or conflicts. He shared a situation he found himself in where a team member had a deadline for a client deliverable. Grace approached him 2 days before the deadline to say that she had a family emergency and wouldn't be able to complete her part of the project. Ever empathetic and not wanting to pry, he said he would handle it. Instead of assigning it to one of the other team members, he did it himself, rationalizing that he could probably do it more quickly. It only took 2 hours. The client presentation went well, and when the team did their debrief, Lizzie, another team member, stayed behind to share that Grace had gone out of town to meet up with her boyfriend. There was no family emergency, and that this is a pattern. Elliot was ticked off but didn't say anything to Grace when she returned, wanting to see if she'd come clean. She didn't, but Elliot decided to give her a pass since he was new and she was getting used to his style of leading. He shared this with his coach, who pointed out that he had not only been played, but by not confronting Grace with at least an inquiry to put her on notice, he was in fact enabling her bad behavior. His coach went on to ask Elliot to consider other areas at work and at home where he might also be enabling others' bad behavior. And this can include children for you parents out there. The coach helped Elliot see that not only was he not setting proper boundaries, especially as the leader of the group, he also wasn't honoring his own standards of professional behavior. For his part, Elliot realized that some of his tendencies were likely rooted in some family dynamics where, as the middle child, he took the role of fixer, the one who kept the peace. His therapy had helped him understand that. He could see that he was trying to keep the peace with his new team by not saying anything to Grace, but his silence would certainly diminish his influence and authority as the head of the group. Enablement can have many forms, and it's important to understand which ones are showing up, both at work and at home. Here are a few forms of enablement. A lack of accountability. Failing to hold someone accountable for their actions can enable them to continue behaving inappropriately, as they may not feel compelled to change it if they don't face any repercussions for their behavior. Our friend Elliot suffered from this. He let grace slide, at least the first time. Emotional support. Offering constant reassurance or making excuses for someone's negative behavior can enable them to avoid taking responsibility for their own actions and prevent them from seeking help to make positive changes. Avoiding confrontation. Ignoring or avoiding addressing problematic behavior can inadvertently enable it to continue unchecked, as the individual may not realize the seriousness of their actions or the impact that they have on others. Elliot and Grace, again. He let her walk, and she tried a similar approach, asking to be accommodated. Minimizing consequences. Downplaying the consequences of someone's actions or bailing them out of difficult situations can enable them to avoid facing the full effect of the repercussions of their behavior, which may prevent them from learning from their mistakes. Similarly, constantly rescuing someone from the consequences of their actions can prevent them from learning how to navigate challenges independently and may reinforce a sense of dependency. Overlooking boundaries. Allowing someone to overstep boundaries without consequences can enable them to continue their behavior, as they may not recognize or respect the limits set by others. So now that you know what enablement can look like, what are the best ways to avoid enabling others? Here are 4 lessons. Recognize enabling behaviors. Identify actions that might be enabling others. In a professional setting, this might look like repeatedly covering up for a colleague's mistakes, taking over their responsibilities to ensure things are done right, or not holding them accountable for their share of the work. In personal relationships, it could mean constantly bailing someone out of financial troubles or overlooking negative behaviors. Set and communicate clear boundaries. Decide what your limits are and communicate them clearly to the other party. Be specific about what you are willing to do and what you are not. For example, you might decide that you will no longer complete tasks that your colleague fails to finish, or you might stop providing financial assistance in personal relationships. Stick to consequences. Once boundaries are set, it's crucial to adhere to them. If boundaries are crossed, follow through with the stated consequences. This consistency helps the other person understand the seriousness of the situation and begins to teach them to take responsibility. Encourage independence. Instead of stepping in to solve problems, encourage others to find their own solutions. This might involve offering guidance or directing them to resources that can help rather than doing things for them. In a professional context, this could mean coaching a colleague on how to address challenges themselves rather than intervening directly. Here's what I want you to take away. Putting an end to enabling behavior is not just about changing how you interact with others, it's also about fostering a deeper sense of self-respect and personal integrity. In other words, stop being a doormat. By taking these steps, you can contribute to more balanced and healthy dynamics in both personal and professional relationships. I know firsthand how taking that first step can be the catalyst for a life-changing transformation. I remember the moment I decided to harness my own strengths, and it made all the difference in my career. That's why I've created a career mapping tool just for you to help you uncover your unique competencies and leverage them to design your own career map. Take the first step towards your next level by clicking the link in the video description. And let's start this incredible journey together.